JHONTEVEROS. Welcome to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Tonight on the program, the veterans and the newbies, the expected and the surprises. Filipinos begin to see potential leaders as aspirants file their certificates of candidacy for next year's elections. A father and son rivalry shaping up in northern Luzon, a representative seeking re-election so far unopposed in southern Luzon, and brothers attempting to switch posts in Metro Manila. We'll speak with Valenzuela Congressman Wes Gatchalian, who's running for city mayor, live. And congratulatory messages are pouring in for this Cebuana beauty who took home the crown. Beatriz Luigi Gomez is the first ever openly gay Miss Universe Philippines. A big day for political aspirants as the filing of certificates of candidacy for the 2022 elections officially opens. Presidential, vice presidential, and senatorial aspirants, one by one, showed up at the Harbor Garden tent of Sofitel Hotel in Pasay City to formalize their intent to seek public office. Others filed their COCs in local offices of the Commission on Elections. We'll see more of them in the coming days with no expected major fanfare, in line with protocols because of the raging COVID-19 pandemic. Our Melissa Lopez joins us live. Melissa, COMELEC wrapping up the first day. What are the highlights?
Yes, Pia, veterans and neophytes hoping to lead a nation of 110 million people in the next 6 years today formalized their bid for national posts on day one of the filing of certificates of candidacy. First to show up at the makeshift filing site set up by COMELEC, Antique Congresswoman Loren Legarda, followed by Sorsogon Governor Cheese Escudero through a representative. Both are seeking a Senate comeback, while Senator Risa Ontiveros eyes a second term. Meanwhile, Senator Manny Pacquiao leads the pack of 6 presidential aspirants. At the Sofitel's tent in Pasay City, Pacquiao sprang a surprise with Buhay Party List Representative Lito Atienza alongside as his running mate. They also faced a mass gathering of supporters that apparently disregarded health protocols and the motorcade that caused traffic jams. 2 others expressed intent to join the vice presidential race for various reasons, including a woman who says she is the medium of white elves and another wishing to end hunger using a little-known form of technology. Representatives of 18 party list groups dropped by to file their candidacies in trickles. Some familiar faces like incumbent Congressman Ron Salo of Kabayan Party List and Quezon City Councilor Lala Soto, the daughter of Senate President Tito Soto, who is also seeking the vice presidency. Other aspirants are first-time contenders. There's a security guard hoping to be senator to provide better social benefits, cheaper internet, and simpler access to government IDs and permits. Another man, Samuel Sanchez, said he feels hopeless about the country's state and saw the need to serve. He pledged to give half of his Senate salary to the poor if elected. A common theme among aspirants, the COVID-19 response, corruption, poverty, and China's claims in the West Philippine Sea. Aspirants have a week, including Saturday and Sunday, to file their COCs. The deadline is 5 p.m. on October 8th. COMELEC enforces very strict health protocols along with a negative antigen test at the filing site. COMELEC spokesman James Jimenez reports that one staff member at the local COMELEC office in Batangas tested positive for COVID-19 and was quickly isolated along with a close contact. Overall, Jimenez says day one of COC filing was, quote, peaceful and organized nationwide. Back to you.
Melissa Lopez there reporting. Pacquiao and Atienza, Manny Pacquiao and Lito Atienza are running under the Cebu-based PROMD political party, which is allied with PDP Laban. Pacquiao is facing a challenge by a faction of that PDP Laban party that wants him out of that ruling party. The issue is pending with COMELEC. Now, with over 2 million Filipinos infected with the deadly coronavirus and hundreds of thousands losing their jobs because of lockdowns, voters now want a candidate who has a better pandemic response plan. Here's our George Quiles with that story.
Young Filipinos endure long lines in voter registration sites for a reason.
Na-emphasize po yan ngayong pandemya na isa yung Pilipinas sa pinaka naghihirap dahil na rin to sa at pinapatunayan ng gobyerno po na kailangan talaga ng pagbabago kasi nahihirapan lang po tayo. So baka kailangan na ng bagong mga taong uupo at ito po yung paraan.
It's time na po na bumoto na ako kasi po nakakaloka po yung mga nangyayari dito ngayon, lalo na for healthcare workers. Sayang naman yung boto ko, di ba? Na at least matulungan ko yung mga healthcare workers kung meron pong willing na paglaban sila.
Political scientist Karl Mark Ramota says COVID-19 pandemic response will be top of mind among voters. As Filipinos tired of lockdowns, getting sick, and losing the ones they love to the virus, look for leadership to navigate through the crisis.
It's really hitting closer to home. We have entire families, communities affected by this pandemic. And so it becomes personal. And as we know, personal is political. And people now see that their personal loss, their personal grief is a result of negligence, of even criminal negligence on the part of the government.
The latest SWS surveys show that President Duterte's popularity has been on a decline since late last year. And it doesn't get any better. A Bloomberg study among 53 countries released in September showed the Philippines as the worst place to be in this pandemic, citing challenges facing the Duterte administration in dealing with the Delta variant.
I think even with the difficulties in voter registration, not to mention the threat itself of the pandemic, people still go out there to line up because they see that this state of affairs can no longer continue beyond 2022. We cannot simply just continue with how things are being run at present.
Ramota says a COVID-19 response that's lacking has been viewed as a lesson, that Filipinos deserve better leadership and the elections will help them obtain that. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The National Police vows to ensure an orderly election process, beginning with today's filing of COCs up to the declaration of winners. The agency says it is fully prepared for any eventuality following simulation exercises. It's also coordinating with the COMELEC on intelligence monitoring. With regards to health protocols, the PNP chief has this message for those filing their COCs.
Tumapila tayo sa mga kandidato at kanilang mga taga-suporta na kumilos ng maayos na naayon sa panahon. Kung noon ay hinahayaan natin ang malapyas na mga gawain sa filing ng Certificate of Candidacy, hindi natin papayagan ito ngayon dahil nasa gitna tayo ng pandemya. So we expect the candidates themselves to take their own measures to prevent this from happening for the protection of everybody.
PNP has also implemented a nationwide gun ban as part of its security measures. This will be in effect until October 9. Now, familiar faces showing up to file their certificates of candidacy for local positions. Some of them are either seeking re-election or aiming to swap seats. AC Nichols tells us who are running for local posts in Metro Manila.
For Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto, the work is far from over. He says he wants to serve for a second term to make sure his reforms reach the grassroots, especially social services.
Halimbawa, yung social pension, meron na pong ordinansa yan. We want to have a local social pension for those 65 and above na walang ibang source of income kapag matanda na or elderly na po sila.
Soto will now have a running mate, former Pasig Representative Robert Dodot Jaworski. In Valenzuela City, the brothers Gatchalian, sons of a Filipino-Chinese business magnate, attempt to swap positions. Congressman Wes Gatchalian files his COC for mayor, and his brother, Mayor Rex, will run for congressman.
Itong pandemic na to, marami ring nagalit sa mga local government units for being too strict. Like we impose liquor bans, we are in the front line ng galit sometimes ng taong bayan because of our strictness. So those will be taken against my sibling. I'm sure kahit wala siyang kinalaman sa mga desisyon na yon. So I think it's unfair to say na dahil Gatchalian lang, automatic agad. Quite the contrary, it carries a burden with it also. Sa aking pag-upo po, ang tututukan natin ay ang pagbabalik tulong sa mga nawalan ng trabaho dahil sa pandemya, no? Kaya po tinayo natin yung West COVID Help Desk ay para ho makatulong din sa mga micro-entrepreneurs natin na naapektuhan at nagsara dahil po sa pandemya.
Their brother, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, has yet to announce his plans. While they are not brothers, the incumbent mayor and congressman in Muntinlupa City are also switching seats. Mayor Jaime Fresnetti vying for a congressional seat and Representative Rufy Biazon for the mayoral post.
At dahil kami naman ay magkasama sa partido at pareho rin ang mga pananaw sa mga bagay-bagay, mabibigay natin yung assurance na yung mga effective programs na yan ay may pagpapatuloy.
At least 4 Quezon City Councilor aspirants filed their COCs, including former journalist Dolan Castro, who is going for a seat in the city's 1st district. A first during the pandemic, COC filing rules are different. Quezon City Police had to ask some supporters to leave the venue due to crowding.
Ay, pagpasensyahan niyo na po kung mayroon po nagkaroong hindi inaasahang pangyayari. Hayaan niyo po lahat po ng staff ko at mga supporters ko ay talaga naman pong maibibrief na po sa susunod po no, para po masunod natin ang mga protocol na dapat po nating nasundan at hindi na po maiwasan yung ganung pangyayari.
Over in Makati City, Mayor Abby Binay seeks re-election, with a representative filing documents for her. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
We'll check who have filed their certificates of candidacy in the regions, and we'll speak with Valenzuela Representative Wes Gatchalian. He's running for mayor, hoping to switch seats with his brother. Details next.
Nagsimula sa isang pangarap.
Ako na po, ma'am.
Ika'y tutulungang ibahin ang buhay na nakasanayan.
Naka 24 months ka na sa pag-ibig.
May panghulog na ako sa motor.
Uy, bagong motor!
Gagawa ng hakbang para mapaghandaan ng forever.
Ingat ka, ha?
At harapin ang bukas na may maaasahan. Simulan mo na ang forever mo ngayon. Fund your forever with Pag-ibig Fund.
Register today.
Welcome back to Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. Again, our top story, it is the first day of a week-long filing of certificates of candidacy for the 2022 elections. Over 18,000 posts are up for grabs. Some wasted no time as they immediately formalized their bid. Our Tristan Odalo has the details from the regions.
Members of political clans and familiar personalities lead people filing their certificates of candidacy or COC in the regions. In Cavite Province, Governor John Vic Remulla files his COC early with Tagaytay City Councilor Athena Tolentino. Cavite Vice Governor Jolo Revilla is running for a House seat under the Agimat Party List group. His brother Brian Revilla will run for Vice Mayor, while his mother, Bacoor Mayor Lani Mercado, has yet to announce if she will seek re-election or run for Congress. So far, the filing of COC in the vote-rich province of Cavite has been smooth and peaceful thanks to its appointment system.
Because of the pandemic, we have requested kasi the candidates to have an appointment. Mas organized din and mas maganda yung talagang controlled namin yung number of persons inside the venue.
In the meantime, father and son will face each other in Ilocos Sur's vice gubernatorial race. Ryan Singson is seeking re-election. His challenger, his father, Luis Chavez Singson, who is current Narvacan mayor. Singson has been a colorful political figure and was instrumental in the downfall of then-President Joseph Estrada. In Albay, 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda calls his second-term bid as, quote, renewal of job order. He has no challenger yet. In Cebu, only a handful of officials filed their intent to run for public office. The younger brother of Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia, Pablo John, is seeking re-election for the 5th Congressional District. Governor Garcia and her potential challenger, former Tourism Secretary Ace Durano, are expected to file their COCs next week. It's anybody's ball game at this point as election fever begins in the whole country. In Cavite, Tristan Odalo, CNN Philippines.
supporters of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte gathered with a common goal to convince her to run for president. A mass was held and other supporters hit the road for a motorcade in Quezon City. In Cebu City, Duterte supporters put up a campaign headquarters. Groups have been pushing the mayor to run for the highest post, saying she will be a better leader than her father, President Duterte. Last month, Mr. Duterte accepted his nomination as vice presidential candidate of a faction of the ruling PDP Laban Party. On Facebook, the presidential daughter thanked her supporters. She says service to the country will continue no matter the position. Now, over in Valenzuela City, two brothers will try to shuffle or exchange posts. Valenzuela Representative Wes Gatchalian filed his certificate of candidacy for mayor, while his brother Rex, the incumbent mayor, will vie for Wes's congressional post. We now go above and beyond the headlines with Wes Gatchalian, the youngest of the three Gatchalian brothers. Good evening to you, Kong Wes. You are trying to, well, switch posts with your brother Rex. If you both succeed, meaning if you win as for mayor, and if Rex wins for your seat, no, the first district of Valenzuela in Congress, this will be a parang return, no, for Rex to Congress, and this will be like a continuation of the Gatchalian brand of public service, so to speak.
Yes,
Am I
Pia.
correct?
Yes, Pia. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity and for inviting me to your program. And yes, Rex used to be a two-term congressman on the same seat that I'm sitting. But for me, it is the first time that I'll be, if ever, holding on the mayorship and the legislative position.
And this is because the reason for the switching of the seats, or at least your attempt to switch seats, is because you have both reached your term limits, correct?
Yes, I'm on my third term, and likewise, Rex is on his third term. So this is the reason why we want continuity in our city. We throughout the decades that we have been serving our city, we have a lot of programs that we shared together. Malaking bagay, Pia, is kung nagtutulungan ang congressman at mayor. So this is the reason why we want to continue, so that there would be continuity in the progress of Valenzuela.
It's interesting that you use that term, Kong Wes, no, continuity, because, you know, this situation where you have members of the family, minsan hindi nga siblings lang mag-asawa, mag-ama, mag-ina, magpipinsan, exchanging posts precisely for this continuity. And this is nothing new, because we've seen this in all post-Marcos Congresses since 1987, every time there's an election, because we all know, no, politics is local, and families usually rule, no? So in Valenzuela, it is, I suppose, like you said, no, what you want to do is to continue and to emphasize itong continuity of the Gatchalian public service. Pero pwede rin namang Wes, no, na hindi rin kayo tumakbo. Kumbaga, to give other people a chance.
Yes, I agree on that, Pia, and meron naman pong good brand name and bad brand name, no? There are many instances in other provinces wherein ang isang kapatid, whether it's the same surname, husband or wife, hindi binoto because of their performance. Meron naman pong mga siblings or family members, they are holding positions and serving their cities and provinces, who did good and very well in their performance. And this is why the people voted for them. Pia, at the end of the day, every 3 years, the people has the opportunity and right to choose their public figures. It doesn't mean all the time that ang isang kapatid with the same surname ay binoboto at yung isang kapatid ay kailangan din iboto. There are many instances that different po ang outcome ng elections. But what's important is the continuity of a good brand name. I guess the people in Valenzuela have seen what the family had worked hard and how we served our country. And every 3 years, it's their right to choose kung ano ba ang tingin nilang, sino ba ang tingin nilang makakatulong sa kanila na maglingkod, sino ba ang totoong naglilingkod. And if or they don't want no, the continuity that I mentioned, the continuity of the Gatchalian brand name.
Yeah, interesting that you bring up, and yeah, a very legitimate point there for good and bad brands, lalo na political brands, meaning the family names. Very quickly now, and you can answer this with just one word or one name. Who is your likely rival? Who is going to be Rex's likely rival also?
So far, Pia, sa awa ng Diyos, I think we are running unopposed. I've been going around the city, Pia, since last year during the pandemic. Me and Rex, we never rested, no? And we've been going around, especially ngayong pandemic na kailangan kami ng tao. I never seen any other political figures who are vying in our position. So hopefully po, as of today, October 1, wala po kaming kalaban. Me, Rex, and our Vice Mayor.
Kong West, you also said that this is going to be your first crack or attempt at a crack at mayor, no? So, syempre, iba rin ang trabaho ng isang lawmaker, legislative. Iba rin ang trabaho ng mayor, where you run the local government, where you attend to constituencies' basic needs in your city. How do you address that issue that even if you do exchange posts and even if you do have a good brand name and even if your voters, your constituents want continuity, that sometimes there are people who are not fit for certain posts, not necessarily you, but others, for example?
Yes, yeah, that's a good point, Pia. Well, just to inform you, Pia, that it happened already before, that me and Senator Wing sat in both in Congress. I was a party-list congressman back then. He was a district congressman. It happened also before that me and Rex were together, while at the same time, Sherwin was a mayor back then, no? So there was a point in time where the three of us were already serving the government. But you're right in saying that a role of a chief executive is really far from a role of a deputy speaker or a congressman with purely legislative functions. No, this is the reason why I prepared myself. And alam niyo, Pia, I would like to thank the good Lord for the opportunity of making me the deputy speaker for trade and industry. It's because with this position, I learned so many things, especially the plight of our micro and small enterprises who are affected in this pandemic. So pagpunta ko po, hopefully in the mayorship as chief executive, this is something na gusto nating tutukan. No? Alam nyo, out in Valenzuela, there is 19,000 establishments and businesses. Yan ang lifeline ng Valenzuela. And out of the 19,000, 14,000 are micro and small sector. And among those, 40% of that sector were badly affected by the COVID. Around 800 to 1,000 permanently closed down, and the rest are suffering and incurred damages because of the pandemic. So hopefully, by the time I sit as a mayor, we hope that the herd immunity is reached already, and the pandemic is a bit better. But we all know that the pandemic will remain in the next years to come. But what's important is to jumpstart the local economy. And this is the reason why I learned so many things being the Trade and Industry Deputy Speaker of Speaker Velasco. This in turn will help me to help my constituencies back, no? Especially those na mga naapektuhan po ng pandemya.
Well, it's good to hear, syempre, that you are preparing for that role just in case you do win. Well, like you said, so far you're running on a post. But yeah, you're right. MSMEs, the lifeline, not just of Valenzuela, but of the entire country as well. So that we can, like you said, jumpstart the economy. Congressman Wes Gatchalian, who is running for mayor of the city of Valenzuela. Thank you very much for taking our questions tonight. Thank you for joining us. Salamat. President Duterte makes new moves against the Senate as it probes controversial government purchases amid the pandemic. Trisha Terada has more about the chief executive's latest directives.
President Duterte orders the police and military to ignore directives from the Senate to arrest resource speakers cited in contempt in the ongoing investigation into the purchase of medical supplies for COVID-19 response. The president is furious as he accuses Senator Richard Gordon of recklessly holding government officials in contempt, although so far only family officials have been cited in contempt in the recent Senate inquiry. Mr. Duterte also took offense at the lack of certainty as to when the hearing would end.
And we will go on to kingdom come until we go, because we are still practically in the beginning.
The chief executive warns of a possible constitutional crisis, and he points the finger at Gordon.
Kayong mga senador, you might be offended by my words now. Yung kasama ninyo, sabihan ninyo, pag hindi rin kayo makaprangka, gusto ninyong sumali sa rumble, di mag-rumble tayo. Then I said there will be a constitutional crisis.
President Duterte is no longer allowing executive officials to obey summons with regard to the Senate probe. He has instructed Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea to draft a memo to make it official. The chief executive says cabinet secretaries have wasted so much time attending the hearing with no end in sight. He wants them to just focus on the COVID-19 response.
So this time, I will castrate you. Yun lang, Dick. Tulog ka na. And prepare tomorrow. Because tomorrow, you will be one of those impotent by your making an impotent worker of government.
Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says there's a legal basis for the president's directive.
It is already tantamount to grave abuse of discretion. It no longer is in aid of election. It is a witch hunt. It is a persecution. It is in aid of election.
The president also warns Gordon that the government will be filing a malversation case against him. Trisha Terada, CNN Philippines.
Reacting to the president's directive, Senate President Tito Soto says cabinet members may only be requested to appear based on the Constitution. Soto adds respect towards a co-equal branch of government is still alive, at least on the part of the Senate. Senator Kiko Pangilinan calls it a desperate attempt at a cover-up. He says the president's order is futile because the truth can be uncovered even without cabinet officials, noting that shocking testimonies have come from citizens. San Miguel Corporation marks its 131st anniversary by extending support to the national government's COVID-19 vaccination program and paying tribute to all SMC personnel who died from the coronavirus. The diversified conglomerate launched the SMC Bakuna Bus to vaccinate inmates at the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong, as well as jeepney drivers and their families and other members of the indigent population in Pasig City. SMC also donated 15,000 doses of the company-procured AstraZeneca vaccines to various cities. SMC President and CEO Ramon Ang led the simple mass held at the company's office or headquarters in Pasig to commemorate the lives of its employees who died of COVID-19. Ang also called on other employees to honor and continue the legacy of their fallen colleagues. Ang vowed to fully vaccinate SMC's workforce by November. At present, over 64,000 employees and extended workers have already received their coronavirus shots. When we come back, it's not just Cebu locals that are feeling pride over this year's Miss Universe Philippines winner. Details after a quick break.
Of Belarus, my main responsibility was to see to it that the citizens that were in the Philippines were able to get back to their country. With my busy schedule, I discovered MX3 is a big factor in improving our health, and I've been taking it for more than 7 years already. I'm Annette Ablan, the Honorary Consul of the Republic of Belarus to the Philippines.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
For my babies, only vet-approved Nutri-Chunks puppies. The only one with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow strong and healthy. Happiness! Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks puppies.
The country yesterday crowned its first ever openly gay Miss Universe Philippines. Cebu City's Beatriz Luigi Gomez, the out and proud title holder, nabbed awards all throughout the night, including Best Evening Gown and Best Swimsuit. But Gomez sealed the deal after winning judges over at the Q&A segment. Responding to a question about how she would overcome sadness during her reign, the 26-year-old said the pandemic has proven that people can overcome difficulties, and so she would inspire others by doing the same and not giving up. Gomez's longtime girlfriend Kate Hagdon said the new queen has done just that with her authentic journey towards claiming the crown. In an Instagram post, Hagdon congratulated her partner of over 6 years and thanked several people, including Gomez's family and team, for their help throughout the competition. But before the newly crowned winner walked to the Miss Universe Philippines runway in sky-high heels, she also donned boots for basic citizens military training. The Naval Reserve Center in Eastern Visayas posted their support on Facebook, writing that she is the epitome of grace and patriotism. The beauty queen was given the rank of corporal after training in January this year. Another group is rejoicing over Gomez's win. Members and allies of the LGBTQIA+ took to social media to celebrate her title, praising Gomez for her pride in raising the LGBT flag. But one supporter took it a step further by sharing her story to the competition winner. Miss Trans Global 2020, Mela Habijan, received an encouraging response from the new queen, talking about how she was previously excluded in an event in Cebu for her openness about her gender identity. But Gomez said she is standing up for victims of discrimination, so the next generations will not go through the same ordeal. Habijan posted screenshots from their exchange saying Gomez is representation for the criticized and the excluded. It is 85 more days to go before Christmas, and that is it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again at 7 for News.ph. I'm Pio JHONTEVEROS for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
This program is brought to you by